Today we are talking about bullying. I've experienced a lot of bullying through my life, especially through childhood, through high school. Boys or girls, let's talk about it. Oh man, that was so fast. Oh, thank you. Before I start fishing in this beautiful landscape, I want to tell you a story. So when I was in high school, one moment of bullying that I remember vividly, because looking back it was actually quite hilarious, was I was playing this game of basketball in this class during phys ed, and it was myself, because I'm a little bit taller, and I was doing the ball up. The coach was throwing the ball up, and you know, the two guys jump and hit the ball. And the other guy that I was doing the ball up against was one of my bullies at the time. He's a lovely guy now, but at the time he was bullying me. And so we're standing there ready to do the ball up, and I thought, this is my time to shine. This is my moment to kind of get one up on the bully. And so I thought, I'll jump as high as I possibly can. I'm pretty athletic, and I'm gonna hit this ball and I'm just gonna dominate. He was thinking one step ahead, and he had other ideas. And what ended up happening was, I'm standing there, the coach throws the ball up, I jump as high as I possibly can. And I see this ball, and I smack that ball, and I'm like, heck yeah, I just absolutely nailed that. And as I'm up there midair, I'm thinking, it's awfully lonely up here. There's nobody else up here. What happened to this other guy? And then I felt a cool breeze around my groin area and my legs. And when I landed, I realized what he had done is I had jumped up to hit the ball, and he had stood there, ducked down and grabbed my shorts. And essentially I had dacked myself and jumped out of my own shorts, which was such a genius idea on his end. Luckily for me, I had pretty good underwear, so it was only a single dack, it wasn't a double dack. But I remember at the time, I was so frustrated. Like I landed, I pulled my pants up, he's laughing, all the boys are laughing, and I grabbed him around the shirt and I just pushed him up against something, or I was just like shouting at him, and coach came in and stopped it all. But looking back, I thought that was hilarious. Now, don't copy that move, please. I'm sharing this in confidence that you will not repeat these moves, but boy, oh boy, looking back, that was funny. So we're talking about bullying. Now, anyway, so if you are getting bullied, what I will say though is, first of all, it sucks. Like, I'm sorry, because I know how much it genuinely can just ruin your life and control your life. And as funny as that maybe moment was looking back, like in the moment and during those years of high school for me, it was just ruining my life. I would go to bed crying myself to sleep, and I'd be terrified to walk around every single corner around school because I was just afraid that at any moment, if the teacher left the classroom, or if I walked around the corner and saw someone, they would be calling me names and calling me out in front of people and saying things about me which were not so nice, especially in front of like girls which I liked and my friends, and it was awful. It's awful. So I'm sorry if you are going through that, because it absolutely sucks. But I will say, I promise you, it gets better. Life gets better, life gets easier, and there's things that you can do right here, right now, and moving forward, which will make sure your life does get better and that you can guarantee that. So let's talk about those things. So the first thing that you really need to think about doing if you're getting bullied is you have to stand up for yourself. There's no two ways around it. You have to stand up for yourself, especially if you want things to get better in the short term immediately. Because bullies thrive on passive behavior, and they also thrive on reactions. So standing up for yourself doesn't mean you need to react. And when I say react, I mean like emotionally, where if they say something or they taunt you, you get all flustered and you shout something back, or you run away. Like that's not the proper, that's a reaction, that's an emotional reaction. And you also don't want to be passive. Being passive is just kind of copying it and accepting it and putting your head down and things like that. You can do that if you want, but if you want things to get better in the short term, immediately, you have to stand up for yourself. Because there's going to be people all throughout your life which are going to try to tyrannize you, try to take control of you, and try to make you feel lesser than them so they can have power over you. And so if you want to just keep living a life where that's always going to happen to you, then that's fine. But if you want to stop that from happening, you need to put a foot down at some point, and maybe that point is right now. And it's not going to be easy. It's going to be very uncomfortable, but that is one of the main reasons that you have to do it, because you'll learn so much through doing it. I guarantee the bully will think twice about whether they continue to bully you or not. Only that, you'll become more courageous in yourself, you'll build more confidence, and as life goes on, you'll be less and less prone to being bullied because people realize that you're a bit of a threat and that you talk back and you don't fight back, you don't give a massive reaction back, and you're not passive. You're somewhere in the middle. That means to be seen as a potential threat, but not to necessarily use those skills that you've had. So what do I mean then when I say you need to stand up for yourself? Well, what that looks like is, first point of call is to tell the person that's bullying you. You can tell them, maybe not in the moment, but maybe when they're not bullying you and you've seen them at school somewhere, and maybe it's just you and them. You need to go up to that person and you need to tell them, hey, look, man, I just want to let you know, I really do not appreciate everything that you say to me day to day, around my friends, when the teacher's gone, and the way that you speak to me. I don't like it, I don't appreciate it, and I would certainly appreciate it if you cut that out. That's a good starting point. And that's not easy to do. And you might go, well, that's not gonna work, that's silly. I promise you, when done in the right moment, it's a completely different dynamic when you're standing there in front of this person that's bullying you, especially if it's just you and them, and there's not a lot of other people around, and you're just talking man to man. You're just communicating with them and you're saying, hey, look, I just wanna let you know, I see what you're doing and I really don't appreciate it. And I'd really like it if you cut that out because it's affecting my life and you're better than that. So don't do it anymore. They will not know what hit them. They will have no idea what the heck is going on. And I promise they might say something in the moment, yeah, whatever, ha, 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 whatever. And they might try to brush it off, but I guarantee you they'll walk away being like, wow, what was that interaction? That was strange. And next time the thought comes into their mind to bully you, I promise you they will reconsider it because you've given them a warning. And you've communicated and you've stood up for yourself. And now they will actually slightly respect you for that. And they will now see you as a potential threat or someone that is potentially dangerous to them. Now, if that doesn't work, first you have to determine if that works or not. You have to give it some time after that happens. If they bully you again and they say some things again, go and do it again. Go and speak to them and man to man and just say, hey, I spoke to you the other day and I said I didn't really appreciate you calling me out in class and saying these mean things about me, about the way I look or the hobbies that I'm into. Can you please cut that out? Can you please stop that? I'd really appreciate it if you cut that out. Like, you don't have to be aggressive. Talk man to man. The mutual respect will be felt, I promise you. And if you do that time and time, again, maybe 2 or 3 times max. Now, if this bully is still not listening and you're at school and it's just getting to you, look, I won't go into detail, but I do know that really the next step up from that, from verbal communication, is to give them a little bit of a hint of, I mean business. And I know that some of the most successful times for me were like that time that I told you at the start when he dacked me. My reaction was actually, I grabbed him around the collar and I shoved him up against the fence and I shouted at him very briefly. And there's other people around, so nothing's gonna get too out of hand. But just that moment of like, hey, I mean business, I'm a threat, don't mess with me, it goes a long way. As a very extreme last resort. When you're an adult, you don't do that stuff, because you've got time to build up your confidence as a person. You've also got time to build up your communication skills, and also you got time to build up your physicality. And all of those things can be seen as a threat, and so you're just kind of less likely. And also people are more mature, so you don't really have to, use any sort of physical threat. Okay, so stand up for yourself. Number 1, that's what we're doing. We're standing up for ourselves. But what do we do long term? Because there's a lot of things that you can do over time, which will really help for the rest of your life. So first and foremost, I touched on this briefly, which is compassion. You have to learn to be a little bit more actually compassionate towards anyone that might be bullying other people. And it might sound weird, but what it does is it changes your mental hierarchy of this person, which means that instead of you seeing them above you, you actually start to see them down here. Because if you learn to realize that these people that are bullying other people usually have been bullied themselves, or people don't wake up and just feel like they want to be mean to other people. It's usually a learned behavior, or it usually means that they're going through something themselves and it's their outlet. And we start to realize these kids might be going home and getting bullied by their older brother or their dad, or they've got a broken family of some sort. Like 99% of the time, that's where it can come from. And so when you start to look at them, and when they say something mean and they bully you, and your response, instead of reacting to their response, which is exactly what they want, or being passive, you come from a place of curiosity. Because these days, if someone were to shout something at me or yell something at me aggressively, I would actually come from a place of compassion, because I would actually want to know, like, hey dude, are you okay? Because that's totally not appropriate. Like, do you want to have a chat about it? Like, how you feeling? How's your day going? Like, I'm not even concerned about what they said. Like, I'm more concerned about what has caused you to be in this state that you're in where you feel like it's okay and necessary to shout at someone like that. And so I come from a place of curiosity and compassion, and it immediately breaks down the wall because they have nothing to lean on. Like, what do people say back to that? They're trying to shout at you and you're like, hey dude, are you all right? Are you okay, man? I'm here for you, brother. Like, it's so powerful. It's so powerful. And a quick example on that note, I get a lot of messages on social media from all sorts of different people. And I remember this one person reached out and he was responding to a lot of my stories on Instagram with a lot of negativity. Just everything I said was just like, screw you, you're a loser, this is lame, give it up, mate, all stuff like that. And I was like, wow, this is so strange to get these responses. And every time he would send me this message, I would respond with some sort of compassion. I'd be like, thanks brother, I love you, man, hope you're having a good day. And then two weeks later, he'd say something back, oh dude, that's so lame, you suck. And I think after about 6 weeks of this guy responding to my messages, one day he sends me a really long message and he essentially says, hey, I just want to say, I really apologize for everything that I've been saying over the last few weeks because you actually do seem like quite a nice guy. And the fact that you've responded so compassionately to all of my negative messages really shows that. I'm going to be upfront. I'm a father of a young boy, which shocked me, by the way, because I was like, I definitely thought this was some like high school kid. It turns out he was like 42 and he had a son and he was just going through a rough patch in his life. And it blew my mind. But he opened up to me and he apologized and he's actually said, I'm really thankful for the way you responded because it meant a lot to me. Because I was going through a tough time. Just goes to show, if I had responded with negativity and gone, screw you, man, you're a piece of shit, like, it never would have helped him, it never would have helped me, it just would have put bad energy into the world, and that's just, it's not the right thing to do, you know? So realize that these people are not up here, they're actually, a lot of the time they're down here, and you don't need to be afraid of them, and so try to reach them through curiosity and compassion, and you'll go further than you think. Now, last thing we'll touch on, which is very important for long-term growth, is becoming a bit of a threat in the eyes of other people, becoming dangerous to a certain degree. It doesn't mean that you actually have to be aggressive, that you get into fights, or that you actually act on your capability of being dangerous. It's about having the tools if you need them, but not actually using them. For example, the easiest description of this is building up your physique, going to the gym, lifting weights, and becoming a bit more of a well-rounded, athletic, physically capable person that looks like, if need be, if I picked on that person, they could probably fight back. It doesn't mean that you ever have to get into a fight. In fact, some of the biggest, strongest people that you see in the gym are the sweetest people. But because of the way that they look and because they actually are physically capable of hurting people, not saying they do, but they're capable of it, just the fact that people can recognize that is already a big enough shield so that nobody fucks with them, nobody messes with them. So if you are someone that's a little bit smaller and scrawnier, then I would highly recommend taking care of yourself. Starting to go to the gym, getting into sports, eating properly, 100 push-ups a day, 50 push-ups a day, whatever it takes. Start building yourself as a man to become someone that can be considered as a threat, to be considered dangerous, to be considered that someone that protects their partner and their family later on in life. I think it's extremely admirable to build yourself up to be someone like that. Even if it's not necessarily through physicality, as in you build muscles, it could just be a skill that you learn. Because boy, oh boy, if you become good at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it doesn't matter if a 6'4" guy like myself comes along, like, you'll destroy me. And so learning a skill like that is also extremely, extremely beneficial. So consider these things because they're not nothing, they are important, and they get you very, very far in life. Not only that, you'll learn to build discipline. You'll build confidence in yourself. Man, one of the best things I ever did was after high school was hit the gym day after day after day, addicted to going to the gym. And it built up my confidence so much. Like, it completely changed my life and my perception of myself when I started really hitting the gym and actually putting on some size. Like, it was magical. So I'd highly recommend it. And yes, not only that, people definitely started to see me as a bit more of a threat, and I got bullied way less. Like, that's just the truth of it. And the other half of becoming a threat and becoming dangerous is not just physicality, but it's also verbal. So if you learn to communicate more effectively, when you get into a disagreement with someone, when you're getting bullied, when someone's trying to attack your character, the first port of call is communication. It's not physicality. Communicate your thoughts more effectively in a manner that is understandable and comprehensible to the other person, that almost allows them to trip up on their own feet when they say something silly, and you catch them out, you call them out on it, and verbally wrestling with them and coming out on top. It's going to make them feel so dumb, and it's going to make you feel like you're on top of the world. So learning to verbally wrestle with someone and come out on top using language, using words, and being able to communicate properly and be able to articulate yourself, like there's nothing better than that. I promise you, especially if you are a bit of a smaller guy that struggles to put on some size, or you don't have any skills like jujitsu or karate, use your mind, practice communication, because it'll get you out of so many sticky spots in your life, not just while you're in high school, but for the rest of your life. And I promise you, especially as you get older, not many people lead to physical violence. It all comes down to how well people communicate. So if you can work on that, you will be absolutely unstoppable. And then combine that with going to the gym or learning a skill such as jiu-jitsu, like boy oh boy, you're going to be absolutely unstoppable. Anyway, there's some things for you guys to think about. And if you guys want a hand with how to communicate more effectively, how to articulate yourself, improve your vocabulary, then click on this video over here. And if you want to help build your confidence, maybe if you're lacking confidence and you just want to learn how to become a bit more of a confident man, then click over here and watch that one there, or watch them both. All right, much love guys, I'll see you tomorrow.